Hello, my name is Jim French, and I'm pleased to introduce you to the Live, Learn, Innovate Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit data platform or foundation promoting self-care, engagement, and data equity. Our mission is for you to reclaim your data from the clouds that are currently possessing it, experience the power of your data, and to improve your life as a result. What is your data becomes the first question. Why would you want it? How would you collect it? Where would you store it? And what would you do with it if you actually had it? These are all very important questions, and they're hard to describe since we have never experienced actually possessing our data. So the best analogy that we have for what life may be like if you actually possessed your data in a single platform is to first think of what life was like before we actually had clouds and before the internet and clouds. So your data was physical. It was often in a file cabinet. You possessed it. It was in your house, and you could lock it up with a key, and you could search it, though it was painful, by going through all the different folders and finding something that you couldn't find. So with that, what was that data? It was store receipts, might have been expense reports for work. It was newspaper clippings. If you had an interesting article, you'd actually put it into a folder. You had your credit card statements that came from those machines that went like long gone. Your contacts were in a Rolodex. Your mail was in a sorter, and healthcare records were in a file cabinet, physical. And of course, your photo album was also in a physical book. So all of these things were physical, but they were locked up and we possessed them. And also, as a side note, ads were sent to us over broadcast television networks and through broadcast newspapers and magazines. So everybody received the same message, very low hit rate for the people that were, or businesses that were advertising. So after the internet, our data sort of leaked out. So as we started consuming many cloud services, our data ended up fragmented into the clouds that provided those services. So rather than having our own store receipts, we started consuming from Amazon, and Amazon has our store receipts, and we can always go back to Amazon to collect them and look at them and see our shopping history. We had bank statements, but the banks stored them, and we could, request them after the fact. Our credit card statement, same thing with the banks. Our contacts ended up in, business social network platforms like LinkedIn. Our friends and personal contacts ended up in social media platforms like Facebook, where, I ended up on Facebook because a friend said, "Hey, look at my baby pictures." So I was like, okay, I want to see your baby pictures. And then, of course, our medical records ended up in Epic, in the medical systems, and email replaced physical mail. So these big data companies, as they provided services to us, they really didn't make money early on. And eventually they're like, wow, how are we going to make money? We have all this data, so we'll enter the advertising businesses and help businesses find consumers. And in the process, we became their product. We became the product for the big data companies that were helping businesses find us. And as a result, the data of those businesses became their competitive advantage, and they hoarded it. Yet it is still owned by the people. So to date, we have never experienced a digital file cabinet. So what LLIF intends to do is get rid of the shrug, which is, where's my data? And bring that data back to our members. So after LIFE or LLIF, your fragmented data is pulled back into a nonprofit cloud data foundation or platform. And we'll talk about why we're a nonprofit. We believe that that is the only way to succeed in bringing all your data back in one place and not having it manipulated or misused. So you will get to experience your data holistically across graphs, charts, searches, analytics, predictions, and decision support. So if you took all that data we just talked about, scattered across all the clouds, we are so programmed to go to each cloud to find out the status of something in that cloud. But if you send a message to somebody, do you remember which platform you used to send a message to them on? If you're going shopping, do you remember exactly which store you bought the item? So those are some of the problems that we intend to solve by giving you access to all your data. And you will get to control, what comes in, so what you go grab and bring into the data platform. And we'll also be able to protect your data from going out, because it's a big responsibility to possess that data. And we don't take that lightly. And we'll talk about all the technical, architectural, and legal controls we're putting in place to protect that data. And in the end, that data resides in a nonprofit organization built on a data platform that you have access through a web interface and a mobile interface. So lots of different use cases. This is the summary of the power of your data, and there are many use cases we don't even know what they will be yet. So within individual decisions, we will help you with self-care. So do you experience allergic reaction when you visit a place? Do you want to be able to remotely care for an elderly parent and understand what their heart rate is, or their sleep patterns, or anything like that? Are you trying to optimize your own athletic performance? So those are just a few use cases among individual decisions. For engagement, because your data is in one place, you can opt into allowing businesses to find you. We want to recreate the downtown effect of a business putting up a sign and you going, oh, that looks interesting, I'm going to go into there, and not have a digital platform between you and the businesses that you consume from. We also want you to be able to find other people that enjoy the same activities as you, or maybe you're experiencing similar symptoms as you, so that you can share and learn and have support through member activity with each other. And then lastly, we want to connect charity organizations to our members so that they can better find people to help. That's our engagement platform. Next, we want to expose anonymously the sum of data so that policymakers, regulators can better make decisions about our environment, or understand the situations within COVID to make sort of investments. And lastly, with any data comes the problem of data management. So we want to foster and will foster equity and return the power of data to the people, foster privacy, and of course, device portability and cloud portability. So we will allow you to have, like a Fitbit device and then migrate to a Garmin device and still have consistent data and not have to walk away from that. So again, part of the power is you'll be able to see your video watching habits across all clouds. And it doesn't have to just be from your mobile device. It could be from any system like a Roku, your mobile phone, a web browser, but you will see a merged interface reporting on your YouTube video counts and your Netflix video counts, and over time, Hulu and other video sources, so that you can see holistically your video watching habits. And we have some cool charts coming along with that will show that together. Another concept is you'll get to see your total spend and how it's trending across Amazon initially, and then other shopping sites where you can break down items, spend on items and categories, and your general spend habits. And you can see here that my Amazon shopping habits have gone up quite a bit even during COVID. And another thing is, what is the impact of COVID on your activity, but not only your activity, but what about an entire city? Like I live in Raleigh. So here you can see a normal year of 2019 pre-COVID, where I have a normal distribution of my steps and I take around 9, 10, 11,000 a day that you can see here. And then post-COVID, what happened was I'd stay in a house and get several thousand steps, or I'd go for like really long walks or runs or hikes and get large numbers of steps those ways. And then what is the implication of COVID on an entire city's activity? We will be able to aggregate that data anonymously and show the city the impact of various events, media events, news, crisis, weather on, aggregate, activity in a place. So another story that's come up as we've been building the platform is the remote care or elder care use case. So in this case, it was my mom, but if it was your mom, what would you do? I saw this trend, and this is a graph in our user interface, of my mom's resting heart rate. Now, she was diagnosed with colon cancer about a year ago, and resting heart rate is very highly correlated with colon cancer. So I was monitoring it remotely through our platform and saw this linear increase over the month of October last year. And so what do you do about that? Do I go to the doctors? It turned out I just interviewed my mother and learned that she was prescribed an antacid med for 2 pills. And over the course of a month, her heart rate went up like 20, 30%. This isn't even a whole rise. And then when her dose was reduced from 2 to 1, her heart rate came back to the original range. And then secondarily, in January, she ran out of a pain med, and in her case, she's using a Fitbit. She stopped registering sleep. So again, I questioned her. I was like, well, you're not even, sleeping at all. What's changed? Anything going on with your meds? Only to learn that, she had to go to the doctors to get a med refilled, and she didn't want to go to the doctors during COVID. So these are the sorts of things that we want to help you with, be able to create your family care across distances that you've not ever, experienced before. And so it'll be a journey. It's a journey of discovery. We believe that the data, when aggregated and put in one place, will foster huge amounts of innovations, analytics, and benefit to the people once it's available for doing these things. So we are working on collections, and we'll go through that in a separate demo video. And we are currently working on visualizations, including visual correlations where we can put multiple graphs on top of each other, so you can see resting heart rate and maybe some symptoms you've recorded. And by the way, those symptoms can be recorded through an echo voice log. So we can say life log, ask life to log, headache, migraine, diarrhea, whatever the case is. And over time, we'll provide active notifications based on anomalies and trends, make predictions based on future forecasts, like in the weather. When it does come to weather, we are recording your own personal air, weather, and pollen history. So when you record a symptom, you will get the ability to say, hey, that symptom only occurs, like congestion, after being outside when the pollen's above 9. So don't go outside when the pollen's above 9 for more than 3 hours, right? Those sorts of recommendations and decision support. So those are the sort of self-care and managing your own data decisions. What else would we do with our data? So the other power that we see is an engagement platform. And there's 2 primary uses of the engagement platform. One is that businesses get to engage with our members if they choose. So it's an opt-in. So you engage, you receive solicitations, and you profit. We want to recreate the idea of a downtown where consumers are walking down the street, they see a sale for some category of item, where the store is the category, and they walk into the store because they saw a sign. So you will have, and it'll be anonymous, but you will have like an inbox where these are your signs, and you will see exactly what the search criteria is to find you. So, it could be that Nike is looking for people that run more than 20 miles per week to send a coupon for a new running shoe. It could be that Coke wants to send a coupon to a Pepsi buyer. It could be that Disney wants to send a a solicitation to people that watch a specific show on Netflix. So these are all possible because the data has been brought back together, and we enable you to monetize or make money on receiving those solicitations. So the money that would come in for you to receive a solicitation might be $1. The Live, Learn, Innovate Foundation would take 20 cents or so, and you will get 80 cents on that dollar. And we can never, change our policies on your data so that we become profitable because we're a nonprofit. Another engagement use case is our members can engage other members, and everybody benefits. So again, opt-in, anonymous, you can be found or find. You'll get to see the search criteria. So if you want to find somebody that likes to watch Silicon Valley, which I do, or that runs, an 8-minute mile for 3 to 5 miles a few times a week, to find a local running person, buddy, you would be able to do that. So like a business, finding a consumer, you can find people that have activities and interests like yours, and target them, and they choose to respond, and you'll figure out the best way to connect those individuals, but that is another goal. So in the end, Your LLIF, LLIF, Live, Learn, Innovate Foundation, is Your LLIF, LLIFE. It puts you in charge of your data to learn, innovate, share, and or profit. We cannot profit from your data. We, like Wikipedia, are a nonprofit organization. We can pay for our administrative costs, hosting and engineering and fundraising people, but we cannot profit from your data, legally bound not to. Your LLIF or LLIF is owned by everyone and no one. And these are links. We'll send out the presentation, but we are a 501c3 nonprofit public charity. We cannot be acquired. Recently, Ancestry.com was acquired by a private equity firm. And every time an acquisition occurs, or even when it doesn't occur, a company can change their privacy policies. And what that means is the access controls on your data are not within your control. When you put your data in the Live, Learn, Innovate Foundation, they're in your control, or you opt out. Also, we protect your data even if we were to go bankrupt. We borrowed too much money, we can't pay our bills, we don't have enough funding, don't think it's going to happen, but your data will be a donor restricted asset, so that even if we were to go insolvent, your data is protected. And we will help you avoid device lock-in and cloud lock-in. If you want to change from Apple to Android, if you want to change from Fitbit to Garmin to Apple, you will have one repository of data. So data no longer becomes the reason you choose a device or a cloud platform, still maybe a cloud platform, and it could be better devices, but you get portability of cloud and devices. We will house a backup. Another instance that came up recently was Garmin was hit with ransomware. So I had friends that over had 10 years of data at risk of disappearing. With LLIF, if those friends had used us, their data would be available in LLIF. So we are both a backup and also enable that cloud portability. So, this is a risk. Having your data only in one place is a risk. So we also provide data protection through anonymization and machine learning. More to come on that, but any PII coming in, and that's personally identifiable information, is filtered. So we don't want your personal identifiable information. It won't come in and it won't go out. We can also help minimize your digital footprint. So as we collect data for you, any one of the clouds, you have the choice of saying, I've got my data in LLIF, maybe I want to delete it from the cloud. And lastly, just in general, and there's a lot that we can cover on this, we foster democratization and open market competition and innovation. So once data is brought back together into one place and it's controllably accessible by really smart companies and new innovative companies, the analytics that will come about because of the access of the data is at this point almost unimaginable. So with that, we hope that you will like LLIF or our platform as it comes to market. We see it as the first experience of digital life, truly experience your digital life. Things we're interested in, and please do reach out, are around, what about this is interesting or concerning? Would you become a member for life? Why or why not, or of life? What might you want out of life? And these are all very open-ended questions that you didn't see. Who would you share life with? Somewhat of a joke, but like, what friends would you tell? And why would you tell those friends to try using it? We'd like to hear all that. And of course, would you like to engage with life? We're looking for help, feedback, funding, lots of things. So please do reach out. I should put it on the slide, but info@LLIF.org if you have any questions or follow-ups. Thank you and have a great day.